Good morning. Indeed, Berry is absolutely correct. I think this creates the perception that crime pays. We know that the police put in massive resources. I'm told it runs into millions of rands. When the children were kidnapped in October, we know that the police were 24/7 on the stage, and eventually the family locked them out. It's very unfortunate, in my view, that the police are now out of this investigation, but that does not stop the police from continuing their investigations. I said from the very beginning, and I think Barry backed me up when we said this, uh, the gang involved in the Moti abduction most certainly is a dangerous gang. We know they came with heavy firepower, they came with 2 or 3 vehicles, they took the children, they were brazen. And I have always said on record on ENCA that I wouldn't be surprised that this gang is involved in, or was involved in, a number of other kidnappings. And I think the mere fact that the family or the children do not want to cooperate with the police is now going to open the way for this gang to continue to run terror and perhaps target other families. Also, the mere fact that there is speculation that corrupt police officials or law enforcement officials may be aiding and abetting this particular syndicate has not been excluded, but that does not give the family the right to say simply, we are not going to cooperate with the police. Now, we know, as Barry reported, that the family is now in the UAE, in Dubai. I know that they have some family members who are now residing in Dubai. And I think within a matter of days, we'll be able to ascertain whether they are coming back. But I hope the police still continue the investigation, and I will not be surprised that if the father and the mother refuse that the children be interviewed, that the police will possibly consider charges of defeating the ends of justice. But it will be interesting to see how the police will take this matter forward.
Now, Yusuf, what I understand from the people I've spoken to, now I haven't had sight, unfortunately, of the court papers just yet, but I understand that the reason cited by the family for obtaining this interdict is because they were concerned that the boys were traumatized and that further interaction with the police detectives would compound that trauma. Now, that certainly is a reasonable I suppose, reason to provide. Of course, it can't be open-ended. But we've just recently had this specialized anti-kidnapping task team set up within crime intelligence. Now, shouldn't that be able to inspire more confidence in the SAPS now, considering these recent, I suppose, successes that this unit has had?
Most certainly, Barry. Let's not forget, we had an 11-year-old girl taken in Mayfair. She was returned just a few days ago. 3 arrests have been made. That particular case, the family, the little girl is cooperating with police. It is very traumatic. The psychological effects, aside from the physical effects of the victim's trauma, continues for many, many months, if not years. But that's not the reason why they should not be cooperating with police. For the police to have a successful arrest and conviction, they need the victims to cooperate. The police offered a lot of services to the family, I'm told. The Department of Social Services in Limpopo offered their services. They were all refused. Well, I suppose, when you're looking for your children, the police are good enough. But when you want to arrest the suspects, the police are not good enough. And that is the problem. Also, it needs to be said that the children, one can fully understand the trauma, the psychological effects, which is probably going to be with them for the rest of their lives. The only worry is, if we don't cooperate with the authorities, we're going to open the door for these syndicates and for these gangs to continue to run amok. And that is a very, very big worry. For us to make sure that we arrest the suspects, that they get convicted, the children must cooperate with the police. And we know in most of the kidnapping cases, the victims and their families are warned that if you are released or when you are released, if you cooperate with the police, we're coming back and we're going to do this and that to you. There should be no reason. Yes, these kidnappers use intimidating tactics. They put a lot of fear into the victims. I know in one particular case where the victim was taken and then released, they told the victim very clearly, if you're going to speak to the police, we're going to come back and kill you. So one can understand the fear, but I think really we need to put our heads together and our forces together to make sure that we break the backbone of these syndicates. And yes, the kidnapping task team, which was restructured, Barry, as you correctly mentioned a number of times, and even in your reports, has made some inroads. Major General Firoz Khan from Crime Intelligence is heading up that particular unit. They've arrested a number of people. They're making great strides. But we need to make sure that we continue these investigations and don't let these criminals simply walk free.
Right. Yusuf, very encouraging. We've just spoken about that kidnapping task team that's been established, which will hopefully help in the scourge that we're seeing. But worryingly, you'll remember there was a crime intelligence report that was released